welcome everybody. It's Mal. For those of you who have been here before, if not, welcome for your first time. I am Malciv. You can call me Mal if you'd like. This is my sort of test experimental world, or at least one part of it. Anyway, I've been working on a design for a timer to sort of streamline the functionality of the timer I use on the racetracks that I like to make. I have a couple of videos, you can check those out, both Arid, my newest racetrack in the desert, and then my original one, sort of a spruce forest themed tiny track. This is some of the redstone behind it, and I was making some prototypes and I wanted to mirror them just so I had an idea of how it looked both ways, and I discovered a couple things. So just to show you a little bit of redstone behind it, the wood here, of course, you could have your facade built out of wood. This is where all of your items, whatever they are, usually I use sand, so it's like a timer, you know, like an hourglass with sand in it. So when you turn it on, it unlocks a hopper, and then hopper speed is hopper speed for everyone. And of course, use a T flip-flop across your finish line with a tripwire, and then everybody will start and stop the same way. So this took 16, of the item. The reset button pulls up a minecart, which drains it really fast, puts it back into the system, and then once they get down here, this clock will run whenever any items are in here, and then the observers launch it back up into this guy, into the locked one, ready to go. So you have a reset button, and then the T flip-flop under the ground somewhere. Not a horrible design. You can see size-wise how that looks, and then the only thing I didn't really enjoy was the sound it made as it was redepositing all the items. Still works fine. It's very serviceable. The sound does sort of help in that you know when the system is resetting, but you could have 5 stacks, inside of here, and depending on how long your track is, if it only takes 2 stacks or under to finish, you can basically just continue to go over and over and over again. Because if we take these and put say 2 stacks in here, a hopper minecart will drain this very quickly. So as soon as this is drained, the next person can start their race, and they can go now, because we've still got enough in here to allow them to time their race around there. But I made this smaller, and that's kind of what inspired me to make the video so soon, and made it much different. I like the minecart because it does drain this really quickly, and then can redeposit it in the back here. This system, on the other hand, is silent. Almost. There is a piston underneath. So it's the same type of system. We got a barrel here. The locked hopper is the second one back. The first one is unlocked, and that's because of the powered rail here. If we were to run power here, it would power this all the time, and we can't have that. We only need this powered when this is empty, when there's any items in there. So if we take some of these and we put it in, that turns that off. And that allows that hopper minecart, which is up top now, to drain this out. So the hopper minecart up top is the newer part of this. So instead of these, where it went down to get out of the way of some of the other mechanics and then shoot them back up, I reversed it. That was sort of my little epiphany that I had. And there's sort of 3 slices. Sorry for that. 3 slices that go through this system. So you've got the detection system in the barrel. So the comparator goes into this block. And some of the blocks are replaced with lamps for lighting update purposes, and also that way redstone doesn't travel through them. They won't anyway, because everything's pretty directional in this system. But yeah, when that block gets power from this comparator, the piston will extend, and that will move it away from this one. And it's all enclosed, so you can't see it. So if we take and add some items in here, you can actually, let me get around, you can see that there is a repeater here. So now that's not powered, this block. So when there's items in here, it's not powered. The minecart will get stuck. When it's unpowered or emptied, it'll repower it. So that way we know that this has been empty, and then our minecart can shoot back up top. So that's the middle part that detects it. This side is just one torch under here to allow these two to be powered at all times, to get the minecart up and down quickly and easily. Minecart sits on top of this hopper, and that all just feeds back into this barrel. That's the return system all the way. How do you make it function? You've got this torch locking here, so you just make a chain down, and this is where preferably a T flip-flop on a tripwire across your start-finish line would you know, toggle. And then this gets out of the way. Sand starts flowing. Once they get to the end, you can see we've got 9. The piston moved because items came in here, so that turns off this. Otherwise, when this is running, it is silent. And 17 have come through. When you're done, you know, record your time on a wall, write in a book, whatever it may be. There'll be a reset button, powers that briefly, and allows all of those to flow back in, and then it drains that back out into the system. So the only thing that you ever hear really is this piston to power and unpower this rail. I worked out a lot of other methods to do this, but this was the most compact that I had worked out, because you have to sort of invert it so that empty means power and full means no power. Every system I had used 2 torches, which inverts it and then back. So this works really well. You know, I used another sea lantern here just to make sure that we're not bleeding anything around. But yeah, the Blackstone, this would be sort of underground. You could run those in different directions. You know, you could have this line could be coming into the side. You know, you could have, you know, something like this, you know, with like a repeater, not a comparator, but a repeater line coming in to then turn this off as well. So the black is sort of unnecessary, or it's one way to get the signal there, but there are other ways. The rest of this you would sort of leave alone. The size on this, you know, 3x4, and then it's about 5 high if you count the cart. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is just a holder block for that repeater, and this does stick outside of that. This could be an external, you know, of your enclosure. So the enclosure for this, if you wanted it freestanding, would actually just encircle all around this, and you would have this one gap with that torch there, just so that you can power that to shoot this guy off on his way. And of course, you could have that in back as well, so you could pivot this around as long as a block touching that powered rail can get power. If you can do that, away you go, and life is good. So really compact, except for that one piston, dead silent. You can hear the cart roll around, but no big bulky dropper dropper elevators. You don't need a clock of any kind. It's all just in hopper timings, and it works really well. You know, start your race, and they start flowing. And once you're done with your race, of course, it would toggle, and they're locked. And when you're done, send it on its way, drains it really quickly, sends it back up, puts it back into the system right here. So that is my version of a lap timer. Of course, you could use this for, you know, any purpose that you would like. If you don't want the whole return this direction, you could use one of these. They're just a little bit more bulky. I like this. It's much smaller. It takes up less space. It'll take up less resources because you're not building observers. You're not building a bunch of, you know, droppers. which aren't terribly expensive. But yeah, one sticky piston. You've got the repeater here, a comparator there, and some torches and rails. Super easy to do. So yeah, there's my timer. This has been Mal. Thanks for coming by. Love you guys. Have a great day.